Everyone is Addicted is a judgment-free space for real conversations about addiction. It's a show about breaking the stigma and building empathy. Everyone is Addicted, Mondays at 11 p.m.
What's going on, everybody? This is the host of Recover Out Loud podcast, Sean Young. Before we dive in, I want to be clear. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not here to diagnose or treat. I'm simply a catalyst, someone who's walked through the fire and now speaks from experience, reflection, and a deep desire to help others find their way forward. This podcast may include honest conversations about addiction, mental health challenges, and suicidal thoughts or ideations. These are real parts of the human experience, and we won't shy away from them. If you're listening, please do so with self-care and self-awareness. And if you're struggling, please reach out. There's help out there. And most importantly, there's hope. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let's get it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Recover Out Loud, episode number 110. My goodness, we're on episode 110. That is wild. But today we got a really awesome guest, and her name is Abby Robert. How are you doing, Abby?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I can't complain. It is a Monday, and it's not a bad Monday, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, Abby, would you like to give us a formal introduction of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Abby. I live here in Pacific Northwest. Beautiful, sunny day today, which is amazing. We don't usually get that a lot. So we are in summer. We are feeling it, and it's lovely here. Just enjoying the day and just enjoying just the sunshine. It's nice to have a little bit of sunshine on my body and just feeling the good vibes. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, the Pacific Northwest does not get a lot of sun. I don't know if you would consider Alaska Pacific Northwest, but I used to live in Alaska, and I can definitely relate to not a lot of sun.
Yeah, here in Vancouver, Washington, we get a lot of rain. A lot of, like, people forget how to drive when the sun is actually out, which is it's very entertaining. They're just like, oh no, what's that? And then the rain comes back, and then they forget what it's like to drive in the rain. And it's just like, okay, people, let's get it together. It's going to be fine. And then we get our one day of snow, and everything shuts down. Like the world has ended. Like, oh my goodness, we have snow for one day. What do we do? It's quite comical, but here we are. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. I call that snowmageddon or snowpocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was one year where I was actually iced in for a whole entire week. My car was iced to the driveway. There was no movement. So yeah, that was a little bit much, but I recovered from that. Like, it's okay. I got to go outside again. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are you going to do with this sunny day? Because I can imagine you don't want to stay inside during the sunny day.
No, not at all. I'm actually recovering from a massive foot injury. So I have one of those fun little knee scooters. So I'm just going to go scoot around the block and, let those sun rays hit my skin and enjoy some nice weather, hang out with my daughter, and, just kind of have a nice chill day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. The weather's been weird here. I live in Maryland, about an hour outside of Baltimore and about an hour and a half outside of DC. And it had half of the summer it's rained. The other half of the summer it's been really hot. Like, just the sun is out glaring. In my whole adult life, I've never got a tan until this year. So, yeah.
That is hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, it's true though. It's true. With my genetic makeup, I burn like a lobster. I don't tan, so it's weird that I'm getting tan this year. There must be something in the air that's letting me get tan, and I'm not complaining. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But Abby, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna dive into your story real quick. When was the first time that you remember using alcohol or drinking? It varies for everybody.
Yeah. So a little backstory, just a little tiny bit. I'm adopted from Brazil. I was adopted into this amazing family. They are my family. Like a lot of people are like, oh, do you call them your adopted parents? No, they're my mom and dad. And I have three way older brothers. One of them is 18 years older. And my other brothers that are twins, they're 20 years older. So when I came around, they were all pretty much out of the house. And so growing up, it was kind of like a second family. And so it was actually it was amazing. And my brother, that's 18 years older than me, when I started getting a little older, like an early teen, like 15, 16, I'd go to his house, babysit his kids. And then he and I would have like movie date nights, and he would make me a margarita, and he would only allow me one. And then I would do a sobriety test with him, make sure I was good enough to drive home, and then I would do that. And it wasn't like I wasn't at the time mentally thinking I'm drinking to like suppress anything. It was just a nice little tiny drink. He didn't even put that much alcohol in it, to be honest, and he just wanted me to feel like a big kid, I think. And but then I stopped because it wasn't really something I really enjoyed, and then later is when I really got into it. So yeah.
Hmm. So when you say you got into it a lot later on, what was that like for you? What was that experience like for you?
It was more of freedom. So I had my son at 21, and I was like full responsible mom. I did all the things you're supposed to do. I was a single mom, so I was doing all the things for myself. And then I met this guy, got married. We had a couple more kids, and that's when I entered the life of being a massively submissive Stepford wife. And when I finally stepped out of that marriage, I finally knew what freedom was like, and I could make my own choices, and I could have my friends. I didn't have any friends. And that's when I started drinking, and I started drinking hardcore. And so from 2017 to 2020, I it was just like there was no stop. It was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I was mainly doing it because I thought, oh, these people really like me. They want to hang out with me. And this is how I can do it. And, like no one paid attention to me before, but they do now because I'm the life of the party. And, like if I can bring the alcohol, I can bring the friends. And my mindset was so skewed because of the alcohol and because I was trying to pour alcohol on all of my life problems. And it was just pushing it down and down and down. And once I stopped drinking, it was like kind of like when you hold a ball underneath the water and you let go, everything comes flying up. And that's exactly what happened. And it turned into chaos for a hot minute, but it was good chaos because that was when I could actually face all my demons and I could fix the wreckage of my past. And it wasn't that I burnt my life down, because I didn't do that. But on the inside, I burnt myself down to the ground. I mean, there was nothing left. And that was when I started doing the inner work to repair all that damage that I did to myself. And that was done to me without permission.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And first off, I want to say, I'm sorry for what you went through. That's tough. It's really rough. And nobody should have to go through that. I
Mhm.
understand that women go through it at a much higher rate than men do. And so I'm sorry for what you went through. Um, so you started your recovery in the pandemic?
I did, which is crazy to think that at the beginning of the pandemic. So I got sober on my recovery date is April 15th and of 2020. And yeah, like that was, for me at least, it was the best time because I had no outside influence. Like we were locked down. I was actually also working as a caregiver and home caregiver for people with dementia. So I was out in the public briefly, and then I'd come to my little cocoon and I was by myself. And that was, for some people, it would be hard, but for myself, it was liberating because I could really focus on myself and I could really focus on the things I needed to focus on. And I met a friend who introduced me to the rooms. At the time, it was a parking lot. So I always tell people, I'm like, I met the greatest people in a parking lot at night. My mom always told me, don't go to random parking lots at night, honey. That's not what we do. And so, but that's what I did, and I found my recovery there, and it was a beautiful thing. And I loved it. I love that I found myself in a dark parking lot on a Wednesday night. Like it was just like, whew, okay, here we are. We're doing this thing. And yeah, it's been a wonderful ride of 5 years. You know, like I always tell people, it's not perfect and it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to, like every day needs to be a little bit different. Like I grow a little bit more every single day, and I look back and I'm like, wow, I'm a whole other person. Like I used to think that I had to fill a room with all of my personality, and I really don't. I walk into a room quietly, and that's enough. I am enough, and I now realize that, and it's a beautiful thing. It's just liberating, and I love it. And doing it during the pandemic was the best choice ever. It was just the best choice because I could really just hone in on what I needed to focus on. So yeah.
I agree. My sober date is December 27th, 2019. So I started my recovery outside the pandemic, and then it translated into the pandemic. So I absolutely understand what you're talking about. And I found it really awesome because, like you said, you love to be the life of the party. You like to be the center of attention. That's how I was, man. Like when I was drinking, I was just like, "Hey, look at me! Look at me! Um, look at all the cool shit that I do," you know. And I no longer had that outlet to be like, "Look at all this cool shit that I'm doing." It was more along the lines of I was given that opportunity to focus on me and only me and nobody else. I lived in Alaska at the time, and it was winter, and it was very hard to get to and from certain places. I did a lot of online meetings, and that was awesome because I could sit in, in the privacy of my own home, my own space, do a meeting, and then after I was done, I was able to reflect on it, and it was awesome. I'm gonna say this the first time on my show. I'm a little bit jealous that you got to go to meetings in a parking lot.
It was actually really cool. We all had like our little camping chairs in a big freaking circle, and like we all had our phones on, and it was a Zoom, so you could all hear because we were all super far apart in camping chairs, or people would sit inside their car and do it. So we still had some type of interaction, like you could see people, but there was also Zoom meetings too. So it was kind of like the best of both worlds. And so I wasn't completely closed off, but just enough where we were safe and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. What was that first meeting like for you? Because I know what it was like for me. What was it? Were you instantly bought into the program, or was it like it's going to take some time?
I was instantly hooked because I went to the meeting just because my friend said, hey, you don't drink. I know some friends that don't drink. Come with me to this like meeting thing. I had actually never heard of AA, and my dad he was all about like no drinking. He actually taught that in schools around, but I never really I never really learned about it until I actually went to a meeting. And so when I went to my first meeting, it was just more like, oh, cool, I'm going to meet some people that don't drink. I had no idea what I was walking into. And then I heard my story, person after person after person. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not alone. I'm not the green bug anymore. I am not what I thought I was. And I I can do what they're doing. Like this isn't gonna be like a horrible ride because I have other people to help me through this and through whatever I'm gonna go through. And it was instant for me. I got a sponsor that night. And I was able to really just like soak it all in. And I went home and I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like maybe I found my people. Like this was like a massive aha moment, and not a lot of people experience that, like you said. And my journey with being sober, I was lucky people. I have not relapsed or thought about a drink since stopping drinking. Like it's it's not like rare, but I am one of the lucky ones who I was able to put down that drink and walk away and never look back.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. That's huge, and it's really hard for some people to put it down and never come back to it. I've had tons of relapses. I'm very open about it. I'm very open about every facet of my recovery and my addiction. And it's very rare to hear people say, "Okay, I'm putting it down, and that's it, not touching it again," on their first try. And so I really applaud you. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that definitely was not my mindset. It wasn't like I had a massive bender that the night before. And then it was like what I always tell people was, I'm just taking a breaky from the drinky. And this is just a little break. Don't worry, drinks. I'm coming back to you. Mama loves you still. But I just decided I don't want to ever do that again. Like I can't. Like it's not solving my problems, it's adding problems. And like I found other solutions to not drink. I also cut out when I stopped drinking, I also cut smoking, all caffeine. So I stopped three big addictions at once: smoking, drinking, and caffeine. I have returned to coffee because I am an elderly adult who needs coffee to stay awake, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I have I have my Sprite because I love some Sprite, but I make sure that I don't put anything in my body that feels like slipping back into something. And I can be around people who drink. I go out with friends who drink all the time, and there's zero triggers. And I'm very blessed with being in a relationship with a guy who respects my recovery. He is what we call a normie. He will have one drink and says, "Whoa, that was a lot." I'm like, "Oh, honey, that was special." But he asks me whenever we go out, "Are you okay? Do you feel okay with us going to a bar and a bunch of people drinking around you?" And I'm like, "We've been together for almost 3 years. Yes, I'm totally okay." But I love that he still asks me because, it's never promised, like that one part, like that one place we go to could be the trigger. It could be the thing that takes me back out. And I love that he asks me that. And my friends that are normies, they ask me too, like, "Hey, is it okay if I have a drink?" Absolutely. Live your best life. I will DD if you need me to, and don't worry about it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's how I am now. I'm able to go out and have dinner at Texas Roadhouse right by the bar and not be worried about it, not be triggered. And I have DD'd for my father uh, back when I used to live with him when I moved back on the side of the country, and I didn't have a problem with it. You know, and I do find a great respect for people that do ask, "Hey, is this going to trigger you, or is this going to be a problem for you?" I'm grateful for those people because they're taking into consideration my recovery, and they're taking into
Mm.
consideration like how I might feel about being around it. But then again, like you said, I don't much have a problem with it either. It's not something that is ever going to rule my life again. Um, so you talked about when you stopped drinking, it was almost like that ball that you hold under the water, and then it just kind of like pops out and everything comes out. What was that moment like for you? Hello? Abby, are you there? Oh,
It, it was like, it was a little bit scary, to be honest, because I'm also in recovery for an eating disorder, and that's what came flying. Oh, yep, I am. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. There's a little lag. We'll just keep it going. It's fine. I think it's on my end. Yeah, there's some technical issues real quick.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
there,
Good. Also, in recovery for an eating disorder, and that came flying to the surface so fast and so hard.
oh goodness. Yeah, we're good. We'll just keep going. Just keep going. I'll edit this out. I don't edit anything, but I'll edit this out. I promise.
Okay. Uh, so for me, the weight that came flying up to the surface was my eating disorder that I've had that since I was 12, and I just poured alcohol on it. Like, I just tried to suppress it. I tried to keep it down. I'm like, I can control this. I can control everything in my life. And then when that pressure was released, that eating disorder came flying to the surface so fast. Within 6 months of being in recovery from alcohol, I was in a treatment center for my eating disorder. Um, and I've been to now 2 treatment centers for my eating disorder, because it's just the demon that just won't go away. Thankfully, I am now November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. 8 months in recovery from my eating disorder, which is the longest I've ever, like, honestly have been in. So that is huge for me. It's huge to stop drinking for 5 years, but to have such a huge mental like disorder, and fighting it for so long since I was 12. I'm 42 now, so that's a long time. And then to finally be like, I need to do this, and I can do this, and I want to do it honestly, like, it's huge. And yeah, so it took a long time to actually get there. However, the tools that I've learned in recovery with AA, with my sponsors, I've had several different sponsors, and the people around me and my best friend, I, I've learned different tools of how to manage and how to just like navigate the journey of loving myself and seeing myself how everybody else sees me. And yeah, that's the beauty of recovery. It's not just taking away the alcohol, it's adding the self-love, adding everything that you're worth having. And that's what I now have, and it's a beautiful thing. And my hope is that other people can have that experience as well. And it does take
Yeah,
time. I mean, 5 years in, and I'm finally seeing my self-worth, and here we are.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would agree. And one of the things that I love about AA is this the grassroots of all the other recovery programs. It is the foundation. AA and NA are the foundations for everything that comes after. I wouldn't be where I am today. I don't go to AA anymore. It's just it served me a purpose and a time, and now I go to my home group during the anniversaries of my sobriety date and everything like that. I still keep in contact with them. That's very important to me. But AA and NA are the grassroots for everything that comes after, like I said. And the one thing that I really enjoyed about my home group was that they told me you need to make sure that you keep up with your counseling. You need to make sure that you keep up with your groups and all this other stuff. And they held me accountable when I really couldn't hold myself accountable. Um, and when I didn't want to hold myself accountable, those days where I woke up and I'm like, shit, I can just sleep this off and I'll be fine. But I needed something more. And so you're absolutely right. AA does save lives, but it also pushes you in a direction to help yourself. Now, one of the things that I did want to ask is what did the initial appointments for your eating disorder look like for you? I'm pretty sure that it was hard to step in there and really talk about the things that were bothering you.
Yeah, that was a whole other demon to try and and really the biggest dragon to try and just tame, because you can't really walk away from yourself and you can't it's all in it's I know it's in my head. I know, and I always tell people there's rational Abby and there's irrational Abby. And irrational Abby likes to be a twisted sister, and she can be dark and twisty, and she can be all these negative things, and having to say, not today. You don't get, nope, not today. You don't get your voice today. You get to be quiet. And that was very, very hard. And when I first went into treatment, I did not want to go. And I was driven there, and the person that drove me took my car because they knew that I would just sign out and leave. And I was actually taken up, so I'm in Vancouver, Washington. I was taken to Bellevue, Washington, which is a good 3 hours north of me. And so they tried to get me as far away from here as possible, which I understand. I get it. But I was like, this is not fair. I'm not ready. I don't want to do this. And I wasn't ready. I was not in the mindset. I was told I should have stayed longer than my 28 days, but I left at 28 days because I'm like, I miss my kids. I miss my things. I was just, it was bad. But my second time around, and that was just, I want to say a year ago, maybe. I went into treatment and I did an online outpatient treatment. And that went a lot better because I was finally ready to face all the things. And I learned a lot about myself. And I did have a relapse. However, I bounced back quickly. It was a short relapse with it. And I was able to be like, okay, I recognize it. I understand it. And now I can fix it. And I don't have to do the blaming game. I'm not a bad person. And it's okay to stumble, and it's okay to get back up. And I think the same thing goes with people that do that with drinking and drugs and stuff. And I always say to people, we don't shoot our wounded. We don't do that. If someone stumbles and falls, we help them get back up. We don't tell them you're a bad person because you drink again. We don't tell them you're a bad person because you decided to do drugs again. We offer solution and we offer hope. And, with our experience, we tell them, hey, you are loved, you are wanted, and you are needed. What can I do to help you through this? And so many times, the people that are closest to me have done that with my eating disorder. How can I help you? I will just sit here with you with food, and if you eat it, awesome. If you don't, that's okay, because you sat with food in front of you, and that's hard enough, and you did that. And so, yeah, like there was a lot of hard moments, like in the treatment center, that were not exactly my bright and shiny moments. However, I learned from them, and now I can look back and be like, I did that and I went through it, but here I am today. Like, I'm a much happier person, much brighter on the inside. Like, my insides match my outsides. And and I learned all of that because of the people around me in recovery. And like you, I stopped going to AA meetings, not because I feel like it's a, like I'm above them, or, oh, I outgrew it. I just like however, all of the things still stay within me, and I know my core values, and I know my boundaries, and I will never cross them, and they will never be bent by anybody ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What was the biggest lesson that you've learned since being in recovery?
Ooh, that's a good question. My biggest lesson is no is a full sentence. If I say no to someone when they have alcohol, that's my whole sentence. If I say no to anyone about anything, that's a whole sentence. And I do not have to explain myself. I do not have to back myself up. All I have to say is, no, thank you. And that's all I need to say. And the other lesson is that I am worthy to be here. Like, I can feel space, and my presence is not too much for anyone. Like, I'm not too much. I'm just enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great lesson to learn. Yeah, I think a lot of times we, not us, but society has a problem with the word no. We're so afraid to say no because of the rejection, or so um, so upset when we hear the word no because of rejection, and that sense of feeling like we don't belong. But no is a completely acceptable answer. It's like you said, it's a sentence, and there needs to be no other justification behind it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And all right, Miss Abby, before we shut down shop, what are three things that you are grateful for today?
Ooh. I am grateful for I'm grateful for my daughter, my youngest one. She gives me so much. She just gives me so much, and she doesn't even know it. She's 13, and she gives me the hope and the strength to keep going forward. I always tell people that I'm sober for myself, because if I put that on anyone else, that's too much pressure. That's not on them for me to be sober. I need to be sober for myself. But my daughter gives me so much happiness and love. And when I see her and I'm around her, that's my that's my why. Like, oh, yes, I get to be around her and sober and in this moment. The other thing I'm grateful for is the sunshine. Grateful for these moments of sunshine before the fall hits. And I'm just grateful to be in this moment. Like, I'm just grateful for this moment today. Like, getting to share my story, getting to just be alive, and like just experience the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very important. And I'm glad that you have things that you can be grateful for. And sounds like you have a ton to be grateful for. So I just want to take this moment and say thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your experience, strength, and hope with us. And thank you for taking
Thank
a
you.
little bit of time out of your day to talk to me. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm grateful for you too. Thank you. It was really great to be on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for being here. Thank you for spending this time with us and listening to Abby's story. It's a really good one. And so until next time, be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself, and love yourself. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are worth it. Have a nice day.